now tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Right? Exactly. So we'll talk more about that coming up this morning. Time is 7:29 right now.
Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Darren's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy.
Morning. Hello. Good morning.
How are you?
How's it all
I'm
going?
perfect. We're here to spill some extra tea this morning.
Extra tea.
I mean, lots has gone on, and we're wondering about the raccoon first.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Raccoon Gate.
Oh my gosh. Isn't it crazy? Well, obviously, that's our headliner of the day is the raccoon story. Amazing. But yes, 2 raccoons managed to find their way to the Cayman Islands. I guess they were tired of our borders being closed as well.
Yes, so they slipped in.
They were like, listen, we need a holiday.
But what were they doing in the container? Were they trying to be like
They were looking for food.
voyeuristic?
They were looking for food.
No,
yeah.
that's what raccoons do, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So they're stowaways. They stole away and they came here and
Do we know male, female, female?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
I doubt that anyone in Cayman, in terms of like agriculture, probably knows anything about raccoons.
How to sex raccoon,
except what they've seen on TV, like the rest of us.
I don't know.
we were asking some questions like that. Like, did you capture a male? Did you capture a female? They don't seem to really know yet. And I don't know how they discover these things, but I guess they'll Google it.
Oh my gosh.
So they said they're junior raccoons, though. They're not like fully adults. So
they
it looks
did look
like
small.
they were just sorry.
They did look small.
Yeah. So
you posted a video up on CMR. Was that the capturing of just the first one, or do they have the second one now?
No, that was just the first one.
Oh, okay. So the other one is still on the loose.
It's still very much on the loose.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Well, they should go out and look at night because they're nocturnal.
Try dumpsters.
Yeah.
They don't come out during the day.
Yeah.
Well.
So I can only imagine this raccoon is like having a blast in terms of like, what's going on in the Cayman Islands, completely new territory. It's going to be interesting. I mean, a lot of people are saying, they shouldn't kill the raccoon. Where's the raccoon? There's been just so many people concerned about the well-being of this raccoon as well. Now, I've understood that we cannot send the raccoon back. We can't repatriate the raccoon back.
Well, I was wondering what happens with that. Do they, it's kind of considered vermin in the States and they can carry rabies.
And a lot of other diseases, actually.
So
they're so cute.
I'm guessing that it'll get euthanized, maybe.
This is my raccoon face today because they've got the cutest little faces. I got to tell you. But cute doesn't mean that you should keep it as a pet. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, people are. It was. I think we needed a little bit of like, as a community, something that brought us together and comic relief. And the raccoons managed to do that. So, hey, shout out to Raccoon Nation. They did it for us for sure. And the memes were so crazy. Like everybody had a meme. I've even got a video this morning where the raccoon has gotten married to a cat now. And now he has status.
I was officiating that wedding.
Marriage of convenience, but here to stay.
It's hilarious.
Wild.
It's been hilarious. And I mean, of course, there was a press briefing on Friday, which made what should have been the real big announcement. But even that was eclipsed by the raccoon story because even the premier had to bow down to the raccoon and be like, the raccoon had nothing to do with my announcement today.
Yeah.
it was just classic.
Hey, all kinds of things get on this island. They come in containers, and
Yeah.
I mean, we went and got a couple of bales of hay that you can get from the Department of Ag for decoration or whatever you want to do, feed animals or whatever. We got it for some of our Halloween decorations on our front porch. We have the scarecrow, and it looks spooky and all that. Man, we got the hay, and there's beetles popping out, jumping out on our, porch and stuff. It's like you can't spray, you can't prevent that stuff from coming in.
Yeah. It's great. It's crazy. I mean, in fact, what I learned over the weekend, which was news to me, is that agoutis are not indigenous to the Cayman Islands. So like most other things, they were at some point imported in.
Oh, really?
And, and I mean, everybody calls it the Cayman rabbit. There are people who eat this animal as well, this agouti. And, come to find out, at some point it was a stowaway as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with people.
They're relatively, I mean, I don't know if there's anything in nature that really hunts agoutis except for humans, but we have done a pretty good job of hunting them. So I think they are, we've either hunted them or destroyed their habitat. So they're kind of in short supply these days, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the iguana craze now? Maybe a few years ago, it was like, maybe we should just eat the iguanas. You started seeing the iguana pop up on restaurant menus and things.
They should.
Well, you know what? That's another example of the green iguana not being indigenous to the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
But of course, the difficulty there is they breed so ferociously that it's kind of hard. I mean, you'd have to have them at every single menu 3 times a day to probably get them under control. And this has been one thing that we haven't talked about in a minute. But, the iguana culling has obviously been put on hold because of COVID, and they are slowly reemerging. Like you haven't seen iguanas in a little while.
Yeah, I've seen.
I've seen a lot of little juvenile ones too.
Me too.
Yes, we've seen. My husband has a garden. He does gardening. This is a COVID project, and in his garden, just in the last couple weeks, he's seen quite a few baby iguanas, and he's managed to, I think, capture a few.
I've seen some of the colors out there now. I've seen a few of the colors out there. I've seen.
Yeah, they're not like how they used to be, though. I mean, because they caught I think it was over 1 million iguanas, which is a significant dent in the population. But imagine what is still out there that's in the rocks of
hiding in the bush.
East End or whatever, high cliff area. So I think they need to, they probably need to continue to do that because we've kind of gotten it under control. You're not running over them every time you get in your car now, but and
then under the sea, we've got the lionfish that are not indigenous to the area as well, and those are really tasty.
My God, right.
Delicious.
And there's so many, there was a video that we played maybe a week or so ago on our Facebook feed about these crabs that were introduced, and I forget where it was, somewhere in Europe, but they were not indigenous to that area, but they introduced them because, to help the crabbing industry, whatever, and they were let go in the water, and now they are ferocious. And it's created a bit of an issue because people who are into crabbing, are you laughing at me?
Yeah, I'm laughing at your Chiron.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Check out my new look. What do y'all think?
So I'm gonna.
I thought you were laughing.
Don't give it away yet. Don't give it away.
No.
Blake and Aaron, do not give it away because I'm gonna talk to people about it.
Okay.
Okay. I love your look.
We think it's great. So wait, are these crabs? I thought you were laughing at the crabs getting really low. Come on, that's
no. So they're not indigenous to this area, and they've completely taken over the waters of wherever they're at. But the point is, now it's created quite a quandary because they actually are needed. Somebody says, "Wow, what did you do? You look gorgeous." I'm going to tell you in a little bit. So the quandary is they actually need them for crabbing, and it makes money, and it's a whole industry. And these are huge crabs. But now they've taken over. It's called they're calling it the Red Sea, whatever, because they're like red crabs. They've taken over the particular area that they were released in, and now it's spreading into Russia and all over the place. It's just a hot mess. But it's not everything should be introduced into every ecosystem because they have a way of destroying entire ecosystems. So I mean, I don't know much about raccoons, but they could beat up the Cayman iguana, for example, which is indigenous,
Ooh,
and that's already on the brink of
Not that one, though.
extinction.
Yeah, the green iguana.
I don't know. I mean, they look cute, but I do know that they are ferocious.
I mean, I don't want to be running around and accidentally run into a
No, they're not
raccoon.
nice.
No, they'll tear your garbage apart.
Yeah, they'll tear your face off too. Yeah. So what was your thought on the press conference on Friday?
You know, we heard what we wanted to hear, which was the date, the 20th of November. And I was glad to see that Mr. Francis Manderson was there, who was giving us some details on the reopening from the civil servant perspective, because a lot of people don't quite get that this isn't just the political arm of government making the right decision. This is a lot of people who are doing all of the supportive stuff, the people who are actually doing the work. And if they're not together in terms of a cohesive plan, and they don't have plan A, B, and C together, then it's never going to work. So I was really pleased to see that they included him in the process, and that we, the people, were able to hear from him. So, it was good. And I thought, yep, we're moving in the right direction. This morning, actually, we're going to have a couple guests on at 8:30 from the Reopen Cayman Campaign. And they're going to talk about, from their business perspectives, why it's necessary for us to move forward to actually reopen the country. So we're all looking forward to that. On the heel of that, however, I don't know if you guys saw the story that went up late on Saturday about a man from Little Cayman who managed to travel to all 3 islands in 24 hours, an unvaccinated man. And when he was attempting to return back to Little Cayman, he tested positive.
Wow.
So where is he now?
Which means he's in quarantine here in Grand Cayman.
Okay.
But what that means is that Little Cayman has community spread.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that means. So they better go over there and start testing everybody.
I was going to say, yeah. I actually have.
I mean, it's a small enough population. They could probably test everyone in 2 days.
Well, this is bad. I have a friend that's over there. She's trying to stay away from everything because she's about to have, a huge surgery. And if she tests positive, it's all off. And it's, it's breast cancer. So it's something that needs to happen.
What's so amazing to me, this is kind of interesting. And again, we talk about these supportive units, but to me, it's amazing that no one has said, why don't we just test all of Little Cayman? I mean, the population's so tiny. Let's just do a base mark, get an idea of what we're dealing with. And no one has really done that. And to me, that's kind of like, now you better do it. At least get an idea of what you've got in terms of community spread.
When you ask how that happens, it's you can travel in the islands without being tested.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm wondering why
someone said the individual who has it, they're like, oh, he lives in the bushes. He's a recluse and this and that. And I'm like, well, obviously he's still getting in contact with people.
He lives in the bushes, but takes planes.
Right. Yeah.
He does work for public works. So it's like,
I think what a lot of people maybe have forgotten about is that this is just phase 4, right? So there's still a phase 5, and then there's the welcome back if they're still following that. So that means that verifiable vaccinated travelers on November 20th do not have to quarantine. Now, people with kids or unvaccinated travelers, they'll still have to quarantine.
Yes.
Right. So that is still in place, and there's still no cruise ships allowed.
Right. Exactly. So,
I mean, I just don't get it. So if my parents come and they're vaccinated, do they have to quarantine because they're going to stay at our house with unvaccinated children?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
Or no, because they're vaccinated, so they don't have to quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, they said going to their hotel. It didn't necessarily say if they're going to a resident with children. I mean, for your own protection, I would probably make them wait a couple days and just do rapid testing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they're staying for, but.
Well, no, this is hypothetical. I'm just saying I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of very specific things. Like we had a couple bars over the weekend that have positive cases. One of them denies that they're having positive cases, so we'll kind of firm that up later on today. And that's the other thing is businesses have an obligation to the public, right? When they have a positive case to follow very precise protocols. And my concern this is one of my biggest concerns, is that won't happen for the sake of money. So for example, we announced on Saturday that a particular bar, Cotton Club, had 3 barmaids test positive and 1 DJ. And they were open Saturday. In fact, after our post went up, they actually put up a promo saying, come on out tonight. And people sent me photos. They were jam-packed. I saw no semblance of social distancing. Yes, they told people they must wear masks or whatever. And then they were open last night, even after putting up a notice that they were going to be closed for the week and reopen on Friday for deep cleaning and sanitation. I'm like, what sense does any of this make? But, you know, people need to be smart. Individuals need to be smart. Businesses, I think, will have to answer to, I don't know who's going to be responsible for them, whether it's the police or public health or whoever, but if they're not following the correct protocols, then I think that's a problem. And believe it or not, workers are being pressured in these environments to show up to work or else. So even though they know their coworkers are positive and they are fearful that they will also be positive. And of course, once they become positive, there's no compensation for the weeks that they're going to be in quarantine. You know, they're not going to get paid. They're not Caymanians, so they're not going to be able to take advantage of this new option that government has, where they put together an ex gratia stipend of $1 million to help Caymanians and PR holders who have to go into isolation because of a COVID situation, right? Not travelers. So I want to be very clear about some of the criteria. We'll go into details later on. But, you know, work permit holders wouldn't be able to take advantage of that. And then they have some employers who are a little bit on the unscrupulous side, who are still forcing them to work, telling them not to wear masks and protect themselves, all this other stuff. And it seems like there has to be a clear message sent to all businesses. What will be the repercussions if you do that?
Yeah, the law is that your server has to wear a mask. Otherwise, the owner or operator
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, go into Smoothie King, because it ain't happening in every business.
Oh, really? Oh, so you did verify that one. Wow. Well, on Friday, the COVID update was 30 new positive tests in the community, which included 11 children.
Yeah.
So it's out there. You know, it's out there.
For sure.
And those 30 people, you know, are probably interacting with.
Cayman Airways over the weekend had to close their ticket office because they had a positive case. Customs headquarters had, I think, at least one, maybe two positive cases. So, I mean, it's out there. And we don't, I want to be very clear, because we announce all the positive cases that we hear about. We don't announce them because we're trying to fearmonger. We're actually trying to do the opposite. This is our new norm. Get used to it.
And it's who's in the hospital right now on a ventilator? Anyone?
No.
Two
no one
people
on a ventilator.
Hospitalized. One is, that's the elderly lady from Northside. That's not exactly related to COVID, but she's coming along. And then the other person, we haven't heard a whole lot of details about, but there is one other person who's also hospitalized.
Okay. I mean, you know, that's the thing that we need to look at. We do, and anyone out there, it's time to get your vaccine.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know some people don't.
And we were at the Lions Center on Friday with booster shots and stuff. So lots of people were getting their booster shots done, which was fantastic. You know, anybody 50 and over, the governor was there, the premier and his wife. West Bay MPs, Mr. Bernie Bush was there. Chris Saunders was there. I don't think Chris is 50 yet, though. But I think he was just like, let me just go ahead and get it done now. Because a lot of these guys.
Did you have a doctor's note?
No. I know. They got on that after we told them about it, right, Aaron? So can I do a big shout out this morning to my husband? He sorted out my mic for me.
Oh, okay.
Marlon, thank you for fixing my mic last night. I had it in a boom handle or whatever you call those things, and it was kind of giving me a little bit of trouble for a while, and I was having to prop it up and stuff. So he got creative with his hands and fandangled something for me and put it together. Yeah, you like a MacGyver once in a while, and a husband. Nothing major.
Good job, Marlon.
You know, but MacGyver, Marlon.
Shout out. There you go.
Good segment this morning, and catch CMR Now live on Facebook, YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll get that exclusive with a raccoon.
You look fantastic.
I know. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. Buenos dias. What's up? I'm feeling good. How are you guys? Let me just see. I'm gonna do a quick message here. So, good morning, everyone. You know, people love to lie. Can I tell you? I don't know why people lie, but people lie all the time. Now, you guys know here in CMR, we don't believe in lies. So, Olivia, good morning. Good morning to Felicia. Good morning to Wee Wee. I'm going to tell you guys the God's honest truth in a second. Diamond Princess Sapphire, Tommy, Carol is here. Carol says, rather than being euthanized, keep them in a cage. Oh, well, what if they escape? They're very tricky in terms of their ability to do things. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not for euthanizing them. I would just wish somebody else would take them, like put them back on the boat. Let's talk about that here in a second. Marshall Joy Hugh says, huge iguanas are about now. Oh gosh. Oh, Miss Ann, sorry. Yes. I've got people messaging me on WhatsApp saying you look beautiful. Give me what you had over the weekend. This one says, wow, what did you do? You look gorgeous. Your face is radiating with beauty. Seriously. Well, I'm going to tell you what I did. It is so funny. Good morning, Louie. Good morning, Darlene. Buenos dias to Elizabeth. Lily says, good morning, my friend. Many blessings. Why, thank you. Hello, John. So listen, the cold hard truth is I found technology to make me look perfect every single morning, and I don't have to lift a finger. I put on a little bit of lip gloss and that's it. Folks, I love me some tech. You all know this already. And I honestly, somebody said it must be X-rated. No, I just love technology. And you guys know I'm always learning. Like, honestly, I am one of those people who's like watching stuff, learning stuff. I'm curious about stuff. And when it comes to technology, I'm like, there has to be a way to do this. And there has to be a way to do that. And so I have discovered a way to look beautiful every single morning. And no, I don't have to do anything crazy, like get up and do an hour's worth of makeup. So Emma says, looks like you've been up for hours with all of that artwork. Hats off to you. Me, hell no, I'd rather sleep the extra time. Well, y'all know that I'm not about the makeup life. Like, honestly, I do it for special occasions. Yes, when I really have to. And I've got tons of like lip colors and this and that, whatever. But like Emma says, who has the time? Most women do not have an hour in the time to put on a face. And so now within a couple seconds, I can put this face on, I can change it up, and I can do all sorts of faces. You guys are going to love this. And I always look good. So let me tell you how the idea began to form in my head. It's actually an idea that I've had since I started doing this show. Sometimes I want to do a quickie video, and I'm like, oh God, I don't even feel like putting on lipstick. I don't feel like doing anything. And, I want to do video, I want to look half decent. You want to be looking all jacked up and people are like, oh my God, what's wrong with Sandy? She looks so tired because you Caymanians. You'll be like, oh, what? Oh, TD, you just not looking good these days. So I've been thinking about it for a minute, and I was going to do those, in your iPhone, you have the emojis. So big shout out to Adrian. I don't know if she's listening today because she's traveling. Big shout out to Alan. Alan and I and Adrian were talking about the emojis. I was like, yeah, like I can just put on a little emoji face and do my recording. Still my voice, so you'll know it's me. And I like it for editorials because sometimes I just want to pop off at an editorial. And I'm like, I ain't got time to be looking cute. And so that's kind of how it started a few weeks back. And I was playing around with the emoji on my phone, but it's a bit challenging actually to record the emoji from like your phone and then get it in especially if it's a longer editorial. So I didn't give up, and I've been thinking about it. And I'm like, something's going to come to me. And it landed right in my lap late last night. I was like, OMG. So I can put on, it's the equivalent of a filter, I guess is what you guys would call it. Like, how you have Snapchat filters, whatever. And that's all this is. But I'm able to do it with my ADSL camera and do it on my live stream. So we are live right now, folks. It is 7:53 a.m. on Monday morning, and we're live, and I'm able to put on this little beat face. Some of them are more like glam. Some are like I can do Halloween themes. So yes, I've got lashes on thanks to this. I do have a little bit of lip gloss on that I put on, but it works. My eyes look a little, I can do like eye colors, all sorts of fun stuff. So guess what? I'm here for it. I'm honest with you guys, so you don't think I'm actually looking this beat today. When I go out there, then you'll be like, what happened? I'll put on a little bit of mascara before I go out this morning. But honestly, this works for me. Don't you guys think so? What do you think? Jade, good morning. She said, yeah, you came out nice this morning. Why not? John says, well, better than always. John, behave yourself. Yeah, you can imagine having to get on and put on like lashes and all that kind of stuff. You know the things that women have to go through to look good? Seriously, some of y'all go to the max. You do lashes every morning, you do contouring. I'm not Kylie Jenner. I'm not in the makeup business. But this works for me. Good morning, Emma. Says CMR family, sorry, Sandra distracted me with her stunning appearance this morning. Blessed day to you all. Jade is loving it. Miss Sue says, wow, look at you, Sandy. Looking good today. Must be up early. Nope, didn't get up. Not 1 minute earlier. So yes, folks, now you know the secret. The cat's out of the bag. You guys know, I'll just tell you what it was anyway, right? But isn't it amazing how just a little bit of something, someone even says that I look like I've lost weight. Well, I just started my new program last week, so I don't think I've lost anything yet. Woo! We're going to be talking a lot about my really poor diet, because can I tell you all something? The more you think about what you actually eat, the more you realize, I think in all of our heads, we're all a little bit like, oh, my diet isn't that bad. That's what we all say to ourselves. Oh, I'm already at 80% of where I should be. Oh, honey child. When you start writing it all down, nowhere near where I need to be. I've been lying to myself about being even 50% healthy, because I've been really giving myself a dose of the cold hard truth for the weekend in terms of what I want to eat and some of the decisions that I've been making. A salad or two a week just doesn't cut it. So yes. Yeah, don't you love the blush and stuff? Loving it. Rachel says in Bermuda, there's safe key digital verification apps with a QR code to show your vaccine status or recent negative test status before you can enter restaurants, barcodes, and gyms. Would that be a good idea here? Many people would take up a vaccine if they knew that it was needed to enter clubs and bars. I think everyone in the world is going to get to that point at some point, Rachel. So come. Good morning to Scott. How are you? Selena's here. Yes, Rachel says eyelashes for days. As you age, your eyelashes tend to become less prominent, right? And you really do need the mascara. Gosh, I remember when I was younger, I had the longest eyelashes. Like my daughter, when she's born with oh my God, her eyelashes were off the chain as a baby. Like people would look at her eyes and like, oh, she's got such long, they went all the way up her little eyes. They're like, wow, she's got such long eyelashes. Good morning to the Honorable Kenneth Bryan. How are you? Tommy's loving the new look. Wee Wee says face of an angel. Aww. Thank you. Hello, Lisa. Happy Monday. Dubai has an app. What app is that? Here I am thinking it's a beat app to make you look really nice. And Carol is actually talking about the COVID vaccination app. Thank you, Carol. I'm sorry, Carol, I misread that. You said, no, Sandy, I said I'd rather than be euthanized and kept in a cage. Oh, wow. I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. Euthanized versus being kept in a cage. Yeah, I don't know that the quality of life would be good, but is it better to be dead than kept in a cage? I guess it depends, right? Ay. Hi, Kevin. We'll see you tomorrow. What's up for tomorrow? Remind me of the topics. I think tomorrow is HSA, right? 7 p.m. Make sure you guys tune in to our CMR COVID Spotlight Series. Yes, Stacy. I just went through the whole 411 on the new look. And you know what? I think I'm going to keep it up. I mean, I look good. And I'm going to try out some different ones. There are tons of different ones. So I've got some in mind for Halloween that we can do going into Halloween. So today is the 25th. Halloween is on Sunday. So we'll do a little Halloween theme on Friday's show. Deep Blue Sea says put the raccoons in an enclosure at the Turtle Center and name them the Republic's Banditos. Oh my God. Okay, so what was your favorite raccoon meme? So in case you missed it, folks, on Friday morning, we got word and we quickly reached out to DOA that there's some raccoons in West Bay on the loose. Apparently they came in a shipping container. Poor little things. I don't know how the heck they got in that container, but they got in the container and they made the journey all the way from, I guess, Miami to the Cayman Islands. And when they opened the container, I guess they were unloading it. One escaped quickly and the other one was not so lucky in terms of escaping. Now, did you guys see the video of the escape or the capture, I should say? We didn't catch the other one escaping, but let's have a quick look at what went down. All right, folks. So there's a baby raccoon, junior raccoon, being captured. Like I said, the other one got away. He's somewhere probably still in the district of West Bay. They are nocturnal. So if you're one of those people who gets up, you're out late at night or early in the morning, if you see anything foraging in the garbage that looks bigger than the average rat, and it's definitely not a dog, I guess you'll want to call. Who are you going to call, by the way? 911? Do they have someone on standby over at the Department of Agriculture or Environment? Like, who's going to go and capture this animal? I hope they got somebody ready because they move pretty fast. I wouldn't suggest trying to grab it yourself because they might bite you and you don't know. They could already have rabies for all we know. Unfortunately, you just don't know. And raccoons do carry a lot of diseases other than rabies. I know we only think of them as, carrying rabies, but they carry other things as well. So they are known to carry. Let me tell you what they carry. So this is definitely not something that we want to have in our community. They are so cute, though. I think we're all very conflicted about them. They're considered to be very clever. And this one website says that a zoologist claims that they're actually more cunning than a fox. So very, very interesting. They have mental abilities of, that are pretty good, I guess. So they can they can open complex locks, up to 11 or 12 complex locks in fewer than 10 tries, and have no problems repeating the action when the locks were rearranged or turned upside down. So that's pretty clever. Because remember now, your children probably can't do that until they're 5 or 6 years old. So they seem to understand abstract principles of the locking mechanisms, and their learning speed is considered that of a rhesus macaque, which is a type of monkey. And monkeys can be very, very intelligent creatures. They're not that far off from us in terms of their genetic makeup. 1 or 2 little chromosomes makes a difference, but it is a huge difference nonetheless. So yes, they're cute because from a distance, I think that they're cute, right? And they kind of have that little bandit look, in their faces. So when you see them, you think to yourself, "Oh, they're such cute little things. They look like a little bandit." because they almost look like they're wearing a filter on their face. Right? Let me show you guys some close-up pictures. When I lived in Florida, I don't recall ever seeing a raccoon in all the years that I was there. I lived in Florida for like 15 years. I grew up pretty much in the States, and I do not recall ever having any encounters with a raccoon. Nope. So here's a little raccoon foot. Ooh, look at those nails. Ooh, honey child, he needs to get a little pedicure, manicure, or something. But obviously they use those nails for something. But look at the little paw. Isn't that the cutest little thing? Kind of looks like a human paw a little bit. Someone says they're known as trash pandas. So here's a little family of raccoons. I can see why people are like, oh, they're so cute. But yeah, you don't want these little guys getting loose in the population. They can climb. So that's the other thing, is obviously they may not be, they may not just be going through the garbage. They could be up in a tree. So look up. Look up as well. So I'm going to show you some. Oh, they come in all different colors and stuff too. This is the, this was the, let me just show you this one, folks. They obviously, that one. And let me show you another one here. So they can get up on rooftops, they can get up in trees, they can go all over the place. Yeah, so there it is, climbing all over. Second stories, coming through the window. You never know with these little fellas. But I must tell you guys that the memes were incredibly funny, and I've got one here that I'm going to play that just had me cracking up. So, all right, first of all, here's the status of the raccoon this morning. So the raccoon has since changed its legal status. So isn't that funny? The raccoon, I don't know if they meant to do that on purpose. Raccoon now is married to a West Bay thing and fully has status, no doubt, and is ready to go. There you go. Got that situation sorted out. So everybody was like, yes, the raccoon is, came here, landed illegally. And then on top of landing illegally, breached quarantine, and now it's out and about. So I got to tell you the truth. I could not help but laugh at some of the memes and stuff. I'm going to show you guys one more that was hilarious. So right away, everybody, like I said, I kind of felt like everyone needed a bit of comedic relief this morning or into the weekend. And that's precisely why these memes really took hold as they did. And I was here for it. I thought it was funny. Some people were a little bit offended. They're like, why are we making fun of the raccoons and what's going to be their plight? And I thought, oh, Lord, can we for 1 minute just have a good raccoon laugh and not take life so seriously? And then after that minute, then obviously we got to, look at our options in terms of what will happen. To the raccoons. But I do understand if you're an animal lover, your immediate concern was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to this raccoon? So let me just pull up some of the memes. There's one about the raccoon trying to buy status, which was kind of funny. There was one of, I'm trying to remember what other memes they had. They had some pretty funny ones. Let me just see here. So one is still on the loose, just so that we're all very, very clear about the status of the raccoons. Let me find it here on Facebook, and then I'm going to show it to you guys. So yes, people are very, very creative with these memes and stuff. I think y'all are talented. Some of y'all have a lot of time on your hands, obviously. I'm hoping that you're putting that to good use and doing things that are meaningful as well. So let me just show you. Let me just show you. Okay, here we go. All right, so this was the one, this was hilarious. So we had this one with the raccoon making it on a coat of arms right under our beloved turtle. This person said, Jasmine thinks that that's disrespectful. Lighten up, folks, lighten up. Here's the raccoon at, I think this is the Kimpton, enjoying a staycation and a glass of champagne. Here's a raccoon with Mr. Bush says, can I still get one status, Mr. Speaker? And Nona says, status granted. For $50. Wow, that's cheap, Mr. Raccoon. We're giving it away. Cayman Waste says, newest CNB hire. Here's the raccoon at the teller desk processing your money, wearing his little tie. We use this one in our story. November 20th. Yes. The raccoon is telling us we are opening up. Remember in Florida, they always do the, what's it called? What's the little thing that pops out of the ground every year to test? They don't really do it in Florida, but they do it in other places in the US because Florida doesn't really get a proper winter most times. But they do it for, oh God, what's that little critter called? Groundhog Day, groundhogs. Yeah, to see whether or not winter's over. And if he comes out and he sees his own shadow or whatever. So good morning, Olivia. Good morning, Irvelyn. John says, was it John that said, oh, Damien says this would be great for interviews. You're absolutely right, Damien. So there he is, November 20th. And here he is again at the Kimpton, enjoying his day. Yes, Mr. Raccoon. So they've superimposed him on these Kimpton photos. So those are pretty funny. And we've got one, again, Caymanians are really hilarious people, with these guys. Let me see if I can pull this one out for you guys, where they did like a whole skit out of the raccoon situation. Let me see if I can get this one going. Raccoon hunters. Did y'all see this one? All right, let me see now. I'm waiting for it to upload. All right, while we're waiting for that to upload, I'll read some of your comments. So good idea. John says, and after you're hired, they might say, nope, that's not the person I hired. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Miss Maria. How are you? Jonathan is here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Shireenbo. So just a reminder, folks, I do not have on one lick of makeup this morning. This is just modern technology making me look sleek and on point. Yeah, I'm here for it. St. Martin in the house. Good morning, Jonathan. Marv is here for it. Good morning, Athena. Omiria says, good. Hold on now. Yes, I scrolled a little bit too far. Good morning, K-Man. Have a blessed day. You look stunning. Why, thank you. It's amazing. Hero Blair says, I always look beautiful. Thank you. Lewis, how are you? Back from LCE, and the country's open and life is going on with business, and they only have like 2/3 of population vaccinated. Life goes on. Where is LCE, Lewis? What country is LCE? Thank you, Stacy. Vernita says, you have lost some weight. Don't do it for weight loss, do it for health. Well, you know what I think happened is during the election, I lost weight because I was running up and down. doing campaign stuff. So I think I probably lost like 5 pounds. Nothing major. But apparently 5 pounds made everybody look at me and go, oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight. I'm like, really? 5 pounds? But, La Ceiba. Okay. Well, I don't know. Well, life might be normal there, but I'm sure people are also dying in La Ceiba. You see, not everywhere in the world do people necessarily care about death like we probably are obsessed with it here. Because I think the difference is when people die here, you actually know them or know somebody who knows them, sort of thing, right? So death in Cayman can be very, very personal. When I lived in Tampa and somebody died and I saw it in the obituaries, I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I don't even know this person. So raccoons are usually nocturnal, but they can be active in daylight to take advantage of available food sources. So if y'all have outdoor food right now, I'm sure this raccoon is going to be digging through that. The diet consists of about 40% invertebrates, which would be things like slugs and stuff, mollusk, arthropods, that sort of thing. 33% plant-based diet, so they'll eat your plants, and 27% vertebrae, so they will eat other animals. Really? Oh, ew. What kind of other things will they eat? Now I'm thinking like they'll eat vertebrate animals, so that would be anything like fish, I guess. Okay. They're described as one of the world's most omnivorous animals. I think that means that they'll pretty much eat anything. While its diet in spring and early summer consists mostly of insects, worms, and other animals already available early in the year, it prefers fruit and nuts, such as acorns and walnuts, which emerge in late summer and autumn, and then represent a rich calorie source for building up fat needed for the winter. Well, there will be no winter here. Contrary to popular belief, raccoons only occasionally eat active or large prey, such as birds and mammals. Wow, I didn't even know they ate birds and mammals. Woo! Yeah, someone said they're pretty much scavengers. They prefer prey that is easy to catch, so they like crayfish, fish, amphibians, and bird eggs. Raccoons are virulent predators of eggs and hatchlings in both birds and reptile nests. Ooh, I wonder, could they be ones that would like eat all the iguana eggs? But then, like I said, you introduce something like this into your ecosystem that isn't meant to be there, you create a whole other problem that you cannot control. So it says for threatened prey species, raccoons may need to be removed from the area or nests, and they have to be relocated to mitigate the effect of their predations. And in the case of some globally threatened turtles, wow, yes, I hadn't thought of the poor turtles. So they will eat turtle eggs and stuff too. Where food is plentiful, raccoons can develop a strong individual preference for specific foods. Really? They're interesting. In the northern parts of their range, raccoons go into winter rest, reducing the activity drastically as long as a permanent snow covers make searching for food difficult. So life expectancy, they can live for more than 20 years. Woo! So if he doesn't get captured, he could be here for a while, he or she. And this is the other thing. I don't know if it's one male, one female, two males, two females. We don't know. So although they're juniors, couldn't a junior be having a baby? So life expectancy in the wild is 1.8 to 3.1 years, depending on the local conditions such as traffic, volume, hunting, and weather severity. It is not unusual for only half of the young born to make it to 1 year to survival. But in this situation, I would think that here they don't have any natural predators, really. So this little fella could live a really long time. Someone said that they mate for life. So raccoons usually mate in a period triggered by increasing daylight between January and mid-March. Well, we have increased daylight here probably all year round for them. Let me see here now. Raccoons in southern states typically mate larger than average. The mating season in Manitoba also peaks later than usual in March and extends until June. During the mating season, males restlessly roam their home ranges in search of females in an attempt to court them during the 3 to 4 hour day period when conception is possible. Oh, they only get 3 to 4 days? For how long? Each month? Or what is this? What are we talking about here? These encounters will often occur at central meeting places. Central meeting places. So they have like a dating app. What's going on here? Copulation, including foreplay, what? Can last over an hour. And is repeated over several nights. What a hot mess. Okay, raccoon, I hear you. The weaker members of a male social group also are assumed to get the opportunity to mate. To give everybody a chance, since the stronger ones cannot mate with all available females. There you go. In a study in southern Texas during the mating season from 1990-92, about 1/3 of all females mated with more than one male. Oh, snaps. I know. Listen, the Christian Civic Group is not going to like this, child. They're going to be like, mating with more than one male? What is this? It's a sex orgy with raccoons. If a female does not become pregnant or she loses her kits early, she'll become fertile again in 80 to 140 days later. Oh, wow. So 63 to 65 days of gestation, although anywhere from 54 to 70 days is possible. A litter of typically 2 to 5 young are born. You see how these things can go? The average litter size varies widely with habitat, ranging from 2.5 in Alabama to 4.8 in South Dakota. Larger litters are more common in areas with high mortality rate, due, for example, to hunting or severe winters. What a hot mess. So they can weigh about 2 pounds. And they're normally born in a den. Their air canals are open after around 18 to 23 days, a few days before their eyes open for the first time. Yes, when they weigh about 2 pounds, they begin to explore outside of the den. So the birth weight is about 10 centimeters or 4 inches long and between 2.1 and 2.6 ounces. And then when they get to about 2 pounds, and they start to forage out of the den, consuming solid food for the first time after 6 to 9 weeks. At this point, their mother suckles them with decreasing frequency, and they're usually weaned by 16 weeks. And then in the fall, after their mother has shown them dens and feeding grounds, the juvenile group split up. While many females will stay close to the home range of their mother, males can sometimes move more than 12 miles away. And it says that this is considered an instinctive behavior, preventing inbreeding. Isn't that something? Very interesting. So again, life expectancy can be upwards of 20 years. And let's talk about their diseases now. Let's scroll down. There's a lot of information here about raccoons. They have been studied extensively. So health-wise, raccoons can carry rabies, which is obviously a lethal disease. It's carried in the saliva and transmitted by bites. What else do they carry? I feel like they carry other stuff as well. Do we get rabies shots here? I think that's the number one thing that most people are concerned about with them is rabies. But I do feel like they carry other stuff as well. Oh, yes. Some of the most important bacterial diseases which affect raccoons affects them. Okay, so we have, what the heck is leptospirosis? Listeriosis, bacterial infections. Tetanus. Oh, that's also known as lockjaw. Yeah. Tularemia. Rabbit fever. So that's what affects them. So they can, other pathogens carried by raccoons: distemper, epizootic, which I've never even heard of before. Epizootic virus does not affect humans. That's good. All right. Well, we should certainly keep you guys updated on the situation. Remember a couple of years ago, there was also, was it a snake that was found in a container or something? Now, here's the thing that came to someone's mind, right? They said, what about that custom scanner? We've been hearing about this customs scanner. I feel like it's been for years. I don't know what's ever happened to it. So this is what someone said on Saturday morning. They said, morning, if the scanners were working at customs, the raccoon would have been detected. What else has come in undetected over the years? So there is a situation, and I need to try to get an update on this, but apparently customs purchased these scanners. I'm hearing it was a lot of money. I don't know if a lot of money is $1 million or if a lot of money is, 500,000, 50 grand. I don't know what it is. But they purchased these scanners, and apparently the scanners are not being used. Now, why are they not being used? I don't know. Are they not working? They're just not using them because somebody's lazy. I have no clue. But this person says, if they were being used, it's very likely that they would have picked up on the raccoons in the containers. Now, the raccoons have been completely, the food, I should say, that was in that container has been discarded. They don't know what the raccoons were doing in the container, child, so they cannot take any chances with that food. So it's all been thrown out. So an entire container worth of food has now been disposed of. Cece, thank you. She says, I don't know what happened last night, my friend, but you're looking good this morning. So yes, Ms. Vernita, they can carry rabies. That seems like the number one concern. Don't know yet what they're going to do with it. Thank you, Cousin Beth. $1.3 million. Thank you, co-host Kevin. He sent me a link here. It says that Customs spent $1.3 million on these scanners. No. Oh, on what is this? Oh, 2016, $1.3 million building, a new $1.3 million building at Customs Cargo Distribution Center that will house in it this much lauded mobile scanner container. So was that done? That was back in 2016. Was it completed? The giant X-ray machine was purchased in 2010, and now we're in 2021 and it's still not being used. What's the problem? Customs, can we get an answer from Mr. Charles Clifford? Collector of Customs said that it was crucial. It was a crucial tool used to keep drugs and guns out of the Cayman Islands and raccoons, possibly. Better enforce collections and prevent stolen goods from being shipped out. But he said the scanner need to be properly housed and protected. So the scanner is $2.1 million. What the heck? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. James, I can see you. And if you can hear me, I need you to adjust that camera and don't ever sit in front of a window when you're coming live. Okay, I need you to move so we can see you. All right, so we got guests coming on here. $2.1 million. Somebody said they thought it was more like $3 million. 2.1 is probably just the purchase of the scanner. And then God knows what they had to do after that. Woo, that's a lot of money being wasted. Judy gives us a number to call if you see the raccoon. Now, Judy, is that your personal number you're giving us? Or is that somebody else's number? Who are we calling? I don't know how messy the container was, Lori, but I do know for health and safety reasons, they have chucked it all. All right. Census time is here. I'm sure you guys are very much aware of this. And in case you missed it, we, it's very, very important actually that we all participate in the census. I did mine last week, Sunday. And yesterday where was I when I saw census guy? Oh yes, I was going to Welly's and I saw down that road one of the census workers. So listen, they're out hard working. Please participate in the census, folks. It's really, really important that you do so. Because it's something that's going to help all of us.
Beginning the 10th of October, residents across the Cayman Islands will be invited to participate in the 2021 census. What is the census? Simply put, the census is a head count of every person living in the Cayman Islands. The population count and data are protected and authorized by the Statistics Act. The information is confidential and cannot be shared with any law enforcement agencies. Your response helps guide business, social, and economic planning for the future of our islands. The 2021 census will inform decisions on how millions of dollars are allocated for roads, schools, hospitals and healthcare clinics, fire, emergency response services, and other programs. Census enumerators will visit your household, ask a few questions like how many people live in your house, including their age and sex. Every person counts, no matter who you are or where you live. So have your say in the 2021 census.
All right, folks, participate in the census, please. It's only about 15, 20 minutes. They ask you a few general questions, a few specific questions, but they don't take like your name or anything like that. And even if you're here illegally, you should know they've actually said in their commercials and stuff, they're not going to be reporting you to the police or immigration. So still participate because we really need to get an accurate count. This is one of the reasons even we're trying to get vaccinated, where the government wasn't quite sure what our population size is. So it's really, really important that you tell the truth. You know, if you're harboring a fugitive of some sort who's been living illegally in the Cayman Islands, still tell the census person. They're not here to enforce any of those rules. They're just here to gather the information. And with the gathering of information, they can have a much better idea of what's going on with our numbers. So we've got some guests in the studio. Deep Blue Sea, thank you so much. He says that I can think of a few things in Cayman that are way worse than those raccoons. Someone said to keep them at an enclosed encounter at the, I guess, the turtle farm or something like that. I don't know, because these things can get out. So I guess you always take a bit of a chance, right? So, all right, let's put the raccoon situation to bed with, is this video not ready yet? What on earth happened to me? All right, I'll find the video and play it later on. I feel like I've downloaded it and I don't know where it's gone. But anyway, there's a really funny video, Raccoon Hunters, that was done by a couple of Caymanians. They always do these comedy skits and it's totally hilarious. So we'll have a look at that a bit later on. In the meantime, Judy and everybody else, please stay tuned. Again, Judy's giving us a number to call DOA. Oh, thanks for clarifying who that was. 916-5435. If you see the raccoon, please reach out. Natasha says they love attics, crawl spaces, and dark spaces. So yeah, we're going to try to find out what is going on with the custom scanner. Why have we spent over $2 million on something that nobody's using? That's just crazy. Kenneth says, I think we should give this raccoon cabinet status. Don't even go there, Kenneth. Don't even go there. But again, it's a bit of comedic relief. We've got Paul Pearson joining us this morning. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And James Boval. Good morning, James.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
James.
Good. Thanks, Sandra.
Awesome. So you guys are coming on the heel of the raccoon conversation, amongst other things. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We've just been listening.
So listen, I kind of feel like, totally joking here. I feel like these raccoons were like, listen, if you guys are not going to open up, we're just going to sneak in anyway, get a vacation, enjoy some time in the Cayman Islands. They've landed illegally. One has breached quarantine for sure. But good morning to both of you. Now you're here to tell us a little bit about your Reopen Cayman initiative. So first of all, I see that the website is up. Reopen Cayman. Let's have a look at the website. Let's do this. Everybody can see. In case our viewers have not seen the website, here it is. And it says that we're ready to reopen. Now, it says November 22nd. Obviously, that needs to be adjusted because the premier has said November the 20th. So I know that originally people were thinking it would have been around the 22nd. Tell us, what is ready to reopen?
Well, our hope was to have everybody take a pledge. You can see it tells us to join us and make the pledge to be ready to be able to reopen on November 22nd. It since obviously has changed to November the 20th. And a group of business people or a group of people got together to kind of just allow the people or to talk to the people about living with Cayman as opposed to living without Cayman. James?
Yeah, man, I'm here. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think the whole idea was to bring awareness and everything and support. It was in support, really, of government to let them know that they wouldn't be standing alone in this decision. And as a business community, we all feel for numerous reasons as to why Cayman is ready to open. And what we wanted to do was put up, establish an environment, a space which was informative, had information, but also clocked the numbers of people who were supportive with opening. And, that's only been up for a week or so. So it really is just the start of things. But the group is made up of a lot of business people because we've actually got a number of the associations included as well. So just to give you an example, the CITA is one of them who's endorsed this plan. In addition to that, you also have the Chamber of Commerce, Cereba, the Real Estate Association, and also
Cayman Contractors
Finance.
Association.
Yep, Cayman Contractors Association.
So the idea then is to put together this cohesive message of everyone's readiness to reopen. And for those who might be feeling uncertain about reopening, I guess this public campaign is to help them get more comfortable and just acclimated with the very idea that, yes, we have to reopen, and we are now on that journey to November the 20th.
Yeah, I think
that's exactly correct.
Yeah.
People are feeling pain. The businesses are really,
so
hurting.
let's talk about James and Paul. What exactly in your minds has happened since the COVID pandemic? Let's break it down, right? Paul, you're obviously a developer. You're in that space. And what have you seen? I mean, it looks like there's been a construction boom. I mean, I think COVID has probably skewed certain industries, and it looks like everywhere I go, I see something being built. So I think construction workers have been pretty busy. But is that a sustainable position if we remain closed with our borders?
It's not a sustainable position. You are absolutely correct, Sandy. It is. There has been a construction boom. The problem is, and you will also see with the boom, and James can attest to this, is the pricing has increased a lot too. A big part of that is that there's a shortage of construction workers. We have huge difficulty in getting skilled labor and also unskilled labor, but mostly skilled labor. And that's across the board. And so pricing has increased. You see, I mean, you only have to look at any news channel or look at any website to see that shipping across the world has gone through the roof because of this pandemic, which hence everything from a piece of wood to a piece of steel to a kitchen sink has increased dramatically. So for us, yes, it hasn't really affected us. It's more affected, to be honest, the mental health of our workers and of our full-time workers. We have 69 full-time staff that we employ. And that's not the subcontractors, which in the height of a job could be 200 people on a job. They can't go home and see their families. Or if they go home, then they have to quarantine. Where do they quarantine? A lot of people share houses here in Cayman or share condos. There's nowhere for them to quarantine. So there's the big issue for us has been the mental health of people and the fact that they can't get away to see their families, the people who are non-Caymanian. And even the people who are Caymanian are saying to us, we need a break.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one thing you give them a long weekend and they go to Northside, beautiful Northside where I live, or they go to West Bay or where, you know, stay in the reef or something. It's a whole other thing having that experience of getting on a plane and traveling to somewhere for a weekend.
Right. And this is a real thing, Paul, because first of all, there was just a report last week in the United States talking about the mental health of children in particular, which has really, really suffered as a result of the COVID pandemic. But I think there might be some people, a very small percentage of people who never go anywhere and they never travel. And so they don't understand the necessity for some of us to just see something different in terms of scenery, right? And when you don't do that for a while and you don't get an opportunity to visit your family, I mean, we have had, even in our household, you know, my husband lost his father early in the pandemic and we were not able to attend that funeral service. And it was so bizarre to know that someone that close to you has died and you're not able to go through a proper grieving process, because all the things that we do, all these rituals, you know, we, you know, do 9-night, some people call it the wake or whatever. You know, we have done all these things our entire lives, multiple generations. We grew up doing all of these things. And now because of COVID restrictions, you know, we have to sit down and watch a service on Zoom, and it's just not the same. And I think that it has impacted people's mental health in a real, real way. So when some people say to me, well, we can just stay closed forever, I think it's such a peculiar thing. And I wonder what kind of life were they living before the pandemic where they could think that that's okay. You know, there are times when I literally have to just go to Miami for a day, even 12 hours, sort of just resets my brain a little bit, and helps me cope better with all sorts of stuff. Not to mention, as a business owner, the things that you have to do and, you know, the logistics of just getting on with your life and getting things ordered and, you know, whatever. But I think that there really is a serious mental health concern when it comes to remaining closed. And we have been in this amazing bubble, and it has been amazing in many respects, but the bubble has to eventually be burst, right?
We had a meeting with Government Caucus the day before the announcement, so last Thursday. And she won't mind me saying this, Shannon Seymour was there, and Shannon Seymour has 30 mental health professional workers. And she said they have never been busier, and she's very concerned. Whilst, great, you know, her business is booming, and I know other counselors and other clinical psychologists and so on and so forth who are, they've waiting lists for people to come and see them. At the same time, they're extremely concerned. And you're exactly what you're saying. It's across all generations. It's from children all the way up. And yeah, like that, I have the means to be able to get away and to quarantine if I so wanted to. But I lost 2 uncles and a grandmother, being a big Irish family, in the last 18 months. And of course, I would have gone to Ireland for their funerals, especially my grandmother. And we couldn't. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And that was one of the biggest reasons, as well as we understand the economics of the country is doing better than we thought because of the financial services industry, because of the real estate industry, because of the construction industry. But what about all those thousands of people who are involved in tourism that is null and void, you know? And somebody said we have own a place at Get Nailed and more in Caribbean Plaza, and one of the girls said, well, we don't, you know, don't rely on tourism. And one of the ladies said, well, actually, I would have come to see you every 10 to 12 days to get my nails done. Now I come every 13 to 14 days, you know, or 3 weeks if I can let it go 3 weeks. So everybody is inadvertently affected by tourism. Ken Thompson, my business partner, who everybody knows, sells obviously a lot more patties and a lot more food and a lot more baked goods when the tourists are on the island, because the taxi man is buying more, the the lady in the grocery store is buying more off of him. Yet you would say, well, he doesn't rely on tourism, but he does very much so. So is that what we want to do? Is the whole campaign is to have Cayman kind of shift from the suppression mode into coexisting with COVID, and that's COVID is here to stay.
Yes.
Just to
Well,
piggyback on that.
we saw I think it was Louis Brown earlier saying that in La Ceiba, you know, he just got back from there and everybody's, you know, living life as normal. And we have been doing a series of interviews even here on CMR. Kevin Watler, who lives in Lakeland, Florida, has been interviewing Caymanians living abroad, and they've been talking about their experience. We did a wonderful one on Friday. In case you guys missed it, folks, go back to the YouTube or the Facebook channel. And he interviewed, oh gosh, it must have been like 5 or 6 Caymanians living all over the world, the UK, the States, and so on. Asking them what life is like living in an environment that, you know, has COVID all over the place, and how has their individual lives been impacted. So, you know, as we now get a little bit closer to phase 4 of the reopening process, folks, which is going to be November the 20th, we'll be having a number of guests on the program from the Reopen Cayman campaign. And these are business owners who are saying, listen, they want to join in the conversation. They want you guys to understand that they fully support the government and trying to reopen as safely as possible. But there's no way for us to remain in this bubble that we have enjoyed, because the bubble hasn't been a perfect or an ideal bubble. It has largely kept out COVID, but then again, we see not really, because we've got community spread that has been happening and we just didn't know it. So that's where it was ignorance is bliss. What you don't know, you thought you were, you know, okay with. But you know, Paul has said that there are concerns about people being able to pay their bills. You know, businesses, the survival of businesses. There are a number of businesses, folks, that have gone under as a direct result of COVID, and there are other businesses who are just teetering on the brink of having to shut their doors as well. Tourism obviously being hit the hardest, and James and Paul are not directly in the tourism business, but Paul was just giving us one example of that tourism dollar trickles down. And I often hear this, James. I wonder from your perspective, if you can tell us from the perspective of real estate, because obviously you're in the real estate business. When people talk about, oh, well, I don't work in tourism, right? That's what they say. I don't work in tourism, so that doesn't impact me. I'm in financial services, or I'm in the food industry business. Tell us, how do you see, how broad is the trickle down from tourism? Like, does it impact your business, your potential clients? Tell us what you see happening.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think absolutely. The big thing that, I mean, as a direct impact, we get a lot of business that comes from tourism, because someone usually comes here and they'll stay and visit for, you know, either the first time they might stay in a hotel, the second time they might stay in a condominium, the third time they're starting to think about considering purchasing in Cayman. And so obviously those purchases and those investors into the Cayman market then mean that you've got people who are attached to Cayman. So they come back and forth and they're spending money on an ongoing basis in Cayman when they come to visit. They're encouraging family, friends to join them, let alone the actual transaction itself that delivers a mighty payment to the government of 7.5%. I had an agent email me just the other day. I mean, when they made the announcement to go into lockdown, and they said that they had a deal that was supposed to go hard, which means that it was unconditional, the following day after that, and the people walked away from it. And that one transaction was $610,000 in stamp duty money to the government coffers. I had one that I got an email, 2 days ago, just it was not related to the announcement. I was following up with a buyer that I was interested in. They said they were going to go look at Turks and Caicos. Well, they emailed me to say, look, we just purchased in Turks and Caicos. Now, I just spent the weeks before that prepping them and getting them aligned to come here, giving them information, and they were looking to spend $4 to $5 million. That's $337,000 that the country lost in revenue. Now, you know, as much as everyone thinks it's easy to replace to be another buyer, yes, there will be, but we have to now encourage those people, educate them on Cayman, and bring them up to speed to get them to buy a transaction. And so that's directly from our business perspective as to, you know, helping the country funding it as well, but also supplying these bodies to the country that come and visit on a regular basis. And the bit that I think is really critical is actually, and the reason why I think it's so important that all of our businesses need to be open and active, is because it's not the, what makes Cayman great are all of the little pieces that add up together that make for the lifestyle. It's the many great quality restaurants. It is the places we can go and visit, or our tourists can visit. It is the landscaping. It is, you look around yourself and you see all of these wonderful things, the schools and all the ancillary services. But if people don't have businesses and opportunities to derive a revenue, then we start whittling away at all these niceties and these extra things that really make it so wonderful for people to come to Cayman and enjoy. And it even goes a step further, because you now think about people who actually come to Cayman and choose Cayman as a place to work. How are businesses supposed to encourage people to come to Cayman and work if it's not all about the money? It's about lifestyle. It's about all those little extra things the kids can go and enjoy, whether it's the skate park or go out to the movies or to playgrounds and things like this. There's so many little things that they want to do. And if all of these little businesses, not little businesses, some of them pretty big, are impacted or go away, it undermines our value, I feel. And that's why I think it's so important that we do open and we get back to some sort of normalcy. I mean, we're the number 4 in the world as far as highest vaccinated countries. I mean, there are countries way down that list that are open and active, and I think there's a lot of justification for it. I feel, our medical support and services, the beds we have, all of these things, our numbers are extremely high in relation to our population. And so we have the means as well to look after those that might be challenged as time goes on. But also it's about educating the public as to how do you live with it? What's our mask routine? How do we enter a place of business? How do we, keep our distance from each other, and kind of getting us up to speed with those processes so that we can be well prepared for when the doors open. I mean, I'm sitting in London, frankly, right now. I came over to see my kids and wife because I haven't seen them in a sort of 2.5 months. So I was able to come and see them. And, I'm walking around here, and it's actually your choice if you want to wear a mask on entering a business. Even when you get into cabs and Ubers and things, they might be masked up in some cases, but not all of them are. I always get in, I have my mask on, and I ask them, do you want me to wear the mask or not? And then it's my choice whether I wear it or not. But, and so life is very much normal in these places. It's just getting things that are so difficult, because still there's so many people that haven't gone back to work. And I think that's what we're finding in Cayman as well, that, staffing is becoming a real issue, being able to supply the service or give the service that you want.
Now, before we get into some comparisons, because we did an article, funny enough, a month exactly today, on TCI boasting these extraordinary tourism and property sales figures. We can delve into some of those details compared to kind of what's been happening in Cayman. But we do have a few viewers who are commenting. So we've got Miss Darlene says she's happy that we're reopening. Good morning, Miss Dorothy. Damien says people just repeat history. Miss Darlene says, Cayman, we can do this. It's time. We are in a much better position than most of the world. And we can show some slides here in a second to demonstrate that, in fact, that does seem to be the correct position. So give me 1 second here. Here we are. So overseas territories, this is our vaccination. So in overseas territories, we're trailing behind Anguilla. Now, I don't know. I mean, we're obviously, I think, a little bit, I think this is double vaccinated. So this might have gone up a little bit. The Premier announced on Friday, folks, that he is confident that we will reach that 80% mark, which is the mark that we wanted to get to before reopening. We'll reach there by November the 20th. We have some other figures here. So here is overseas territories. Look at this. Gasoline prices, folks, keeps going up. We're still $4 cheaper than Bermuda, believe it or not. but we're on par with Montserrat and Anguilla at an average of $6 for a gallon of gas. Turks and Caicos is at $5.50. The Virgin Islands is at $4.30. But we do indeed enjoy one of the largest vaccination rates in the entire world. And we also have the lowest COVID death at this point in all of the territories, overseas territories. So I think that's also an important figure to keep in mind, because obviously the government is most concerned about maintaining that number too, if possible. But there's only one way, folks, to do that, and that's to take advantage of the things that we know that work. So I know James was saying, in some other places they may not be as strict with masking and so forth, but the scientific research has demonstrated that if you want to save people from dying, believe me, you will definitely want to encourage people to wear masks when out in public, especially in more crowded areas. So we do have a few questions in relation to everybody saying, okay, great. Let's say that we're on board with Reopen Cayman. One question says here, if Sariba, CETA, and Chamber of Commerce really cared about the welfare of Caymanians and work permit holders, they would figure out a way to get that minimum wage increased to $12 per hour. Workers cannot exist on a slave wage of $6 per hour or $1,040 per month. So they're saying here that your guests are only interested in personal gain, not the welfare of the people of the Cayman Islands. Do you guys want to address this issue generally speaking? Now, I was having a conversation with someone just yesterday, and I said to them, if you increase the cost of living, right? So here's an example. On Friday, I announced on the show that Foster's Supermarket gave all of their employees a cost of living increase of their hourly employees 50 cents per hour, right? And someone apparently doesn't think that that's enough. So they're complaining about that. And I said, let me just do the math. And I sat down, I actually reached out to Foster's and I did some calculations of my own. So based on the hundreds of people that they employ, 50 cents per hour is pushing, give or take a little bit, around $700,000 extra that they've just added to their bottom line. That's a lot of money. That's like pushing $1 million, right? That doesn't include managers and other people under the Foster's umbrella. So let's just round that up to $1 million at least by the time that's said and done, right? In a time like this, especially a pandemic, where most businesses have seen a reduction, restaurants have seen a reduction, sometimes 60% or greater in their customer numbers, in their bottom line, in their revenue. If there was ever a time for you to say, oh, let's increase the minimum wage, and again, one of the important reasons that people want to participate in the census is how many people actually live at that minimum wage level. We need a real number so we can start having that discussion in terms of who that's impacting, what sorts of jobs they're in, et cetera, et cetera. But how many people that are living at that minimum wage level, if they now got an increase, say you doubled it to $12 an hour, but we got a chain supply issue that's happening right now in real time, which we're going to be talking about probably in tomorrow's program. Goods are in short supply. That's pushing up the cost of everything. We've got a local shipping company who's saying, Sandy, before COVID, I could get a container from China for $3,000. Now that exact same container is $9,000 plus. I've not cut any staff. I've not given them a pay increase. My bottom line, any profits that I may have seen is where it's going to be hit and where that's disappearing, right? So if we just go out there and tell everybody, right, government increase, double the minimum wage to $12 an hour, to hell with what businesses do or whatever. I mean, in the real world, how does this work? How does this impact everybody's life? Because obviously the price of everything is going to go up to compensate for now doubling the cost of, and I'm not saying that $6 is a livable wage. I'm just saying that people need to see the knock-on effect. Just like we've had a knock-on effect of, COVID and closing our borders, doing anything like this has a knock-on effect. And how many people is it really going to be impacting who are in that salary range versus the knock-on effect, which impacts everyone?
Okay, I'll take this one for now. In the construction industry, I would like to see, or maybe some of your guests get $6 an hour, but I don't know anybody who gets, certainly not for Davenport Development, gets less than $9 an hour, and then will get overtime, or then will get job work. So There's nobody gets less than $10. Most people would be on $12 an hour in the construction field, and I'm talking unskilled labor. You're not talking about somebody who can properly hang sheetrock or a painter who's a skilled painter, or especially a tiler, for example. So it's difficult whilst the minimum wage, and we'd have to reach out to the chamber, because, as you know, I was president of the chamber a long time ago. This is after the minimum wage, and we did a survey, and there was very, very few companies actually paid $6 an hour. So when you take into account that, yes, a waiter, when I worked in Hard Rock years ago, we paid $4.50 an hour for the staff, and then they got to keep their tips, and they were getting like $1,000 a week. They were on the equivalent of what an accountant would have been making as a server, because they were, I'm working day shifts doing the work for the cruise ships. So $6 an hour obviously is not a living wage, but I find it very difficult to see that there's a lot of people on $6 an hour.
Right.
I was the only bit I was gonna add, Paul, was exactly what you ended up saying, which is really, I think the $6 an hour wage is more for people who also have the opportunity for gratuitous pools, and so ultimately, though their initial pay is based on the hourly amount, the upside they can get can be actually much better. I'm sure there are some people that are paying the minimum $6 an hour, maybe more related to help at home, and whether that's you have a lot of situations where there are foreigners that employ help at home, but also Caymanians employ help at home. They could need them for medical support, they could need them as housekeepers and cleaners, and so that environment is usually the one where I would imagine it's lower. But I think most people who have help do find other ways to support and help those as well, rather than just necessarily stifling them at that lower rate. And frankly, I don't know what the number is if you're talking about 100 people or 1,000 people or 5,000 people who are.
And that's why those figures from the ESO are so important, because even as a business owner, when they send you the annual service that they do, especially for retail, they always send it to retail people, fill those out, folks, because that gives them an idea of exactly how many people are being paid $6 an hour. Is it majority domestic and retail? Is it restaurant workers, but on top of that, they're getting gratuities and other things that really means that they're not taking home $6 an hour. So yeah, there's a lot of factors that play into that. We always talk about the minimum wage being $6 an hour, but the real question is how many people. And it's an interesting point that James makes is who are the employers of those people making $6 an hour? Is that going to be like myself, who has a small retail company? I don't employ anybody, but just as an example, if I did, it probably would be very close to minimum wage, because I simply don't make anything on the retail side to really be able to justify paying anyone more than that. That's why I don't actually employ anyone. So the choice is employ someone at minimum wage and give someone a job who would most likely be, someone just out of high school, no skill set, whatever, or an expat worker that I have to then take out a work permit for, or find a way to actually not have to employ anyone at all. I choose the latter because of the headache involved in staffing. This is just a little bit off topic here, but just to answer that question, when people talk about and hyper focus on that $6 an hour, you've got to really put that, I think, in full context. So Jackie says that there are families with children under 12 who are really struggling after Friday's announcement. Hopefully government will soon allow fully vaccinated residents to travel with unvaccinated children and to quarantine upon return, at least for residents. So Jackie, and no quarantine, sorry. Yeah. Obviously, the concern has always been to protect our most vulnerable, which are children and the elderly. We have seen now that COVID is definitely running through a large number of or children with the community spread. Having said that, Jackie, the game changer is on the horizon, because I think it could be in a matter of the next couple of days that the FDA and other agencies will actually be approving a vaccine for children 5 and over. So that's a huge, huge game changer. And I think that, as we move into phase 4 and eventually phase 5, that could make all the difference in the world. And I agree. I mean, Paul?
Sorry, the Premier did mention that they were looking at the notion of the kids, the 12, the 5 to 12 and the under 5s.
Yes.
And there was medical people in the room who talked about viral load and various different things with children. But we do know that is very, very much in their minds.
Yes.
About how, well, first of all, Caymanian residents coming back from the overseas, if a kid's in boarding school, I don't know if they're in boarding school at that age, but if they have to go away for medical treatment or something and come back, or visitors coming with children who are under 12 and or under 5. So that's very much in their psyche, and how they bring the reopening plans, bring that into focus with the reopening plans as well.
Yeah, I think with the kids, right? With the when you talk about visitors coming to our shores, right? Cayman has built itself around being a family destination. It's a very, very much a family destination, and so when you think of a family going on holiday, it makes it a little difficult to kind of leave behind your kids, if they're under 12. And so it is very, very important. And I'm really glad that the government, the Premier, had recognized that, and that they're looking at that as possibly something that they will lift, because obviously it was in one of the phases as well. But ideally, you need that as part of the opening plan in the ideal situation.
Yes. Another question just has come in on WhatsApp relating to the reopening of the borders and opportunities for Caymanians. So can you tell us a little bit about each of your individual businesses? Now, Paul, I know that as a developer, you subcontract a lot of your work out, and you try to obviously use Caymanian companies where possible. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about how you seek to employ Caymanians or give Caymanians contracts in your business.
With every single, if we're employing the person, or if we are employing a subcontractor, we try and insist that they're Caymanians. There is a fallacy out there that businesses like ours or like James's only want to employ expats. Why would you want to employ an expat and go through all the problems of, the hassle of a work permit, the cost of a work permit? Then you have, by law, you're not able to take any cost of the work permit from the employee. So generally speaking, then you have to pay for the work permit, you have to pay for all the administration involved in that, pay for the adverts, and more than likely pay to get them here. Now, in saying that, why would you do that when you can get a qualified Caymanian? And so we always look to employ Caymanians first. We encourage all of our subcontractors to employ Caymanians first. Unfortunately, a lot of there's not a big trade school here. UCCI is doing some work, and we work alongside them. We work with SciFec. We work with the prison system, where we integrate prisoners who come off, who serve their time. There's not a big trade school here, so the mindset of the younger kids is working in financial services, is working in an air-conditioned place. It's hot working on a building site. It's hot and hard and dirty work. But for the most part, I don't know any company who does not try and hire Caymanians first. I know you'll get a lot of kickback against that, and a lot of people will say that's not true. From a perspective, as I say, knowing hundreds of people and thousands of people it was with Chamber of Commerce, that was always the case. Everybody tries to hire Caymanians first. you know, and we certainly do, and we encourage all of our subcontractors to.
Yes. James?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely apparent. I mean, my personal belief is that it would be absolutely remiss of any employer not to try and hire a Caymanian first. I think the fact is that, ultimately you're trying to find the best person that can facilitate filling the gap that you need in your business. But ultimately, of course, we're going to always try and get a Caymanian first. I mean, number one, they're there. So, you don't have to go through government for work permits in the process there. That's a long, arduous one and a very expensive one. Then you've also got, in some cases, bringing people up to speed as to the environment that they're going to live in. It's different to what they're used to. So, relocation and everything. The fact is that I don't know of a business who doesn't work to try and hire Caymanians first. It really comes down to the quality of the Caymanian and the desire for the Caymanian to want to work there and be there. And you hear some really horrible things where, I heard something the other day where it was someone who had hired, I think they hired 6 or 8 Caymanians. They were all set to come and start, not one turned up. And these are the things that you hear. Or they job hop quickly and you feel like you're attached to them. In my business, we actually even went a step further because we were finding it very hard to find Caymanians. Our business is very much based on commission, right? And so we don't have salaries. That's not how you earn, and it's not how you instill someone to be empowered to go out and do a transaction, because history has proven itself that if you give someone a salary in that role, they're not going to perform. And so then the business fails, yet it's got this huge cost that's just ongoing and out the window. So in ours, it's a very different thing. But we even went a step further. We actually went out, hunted for an apprentice and set up an apprentice program, which actually came from our manager. It was her idea. It's something that they do in Europe. And her, originally from Europe, came up with the idea, and we worked it out. We had a 3-year plan. And we had Caymanians apply for it. We went through, we interviewed a series of them, found the one, got the one, took them through the program. And Stephen Rivers is an example of that. He is the person who went through 3 years of an apprenticeship program. My partner and I are backing him on his adventure, and he's now out on his own. And he's established.
We give him a shout out. Don't forget, we bought our house. We were his first sale.
Yeah, he worked with.
He had a great attitude. He came out. We were coming out to visit friends. It was 5:30 on a Friday, and Randy said, "There's no way we're going to get a real estate agent at a happy hour on a Friday to go out to Northside to show us the place." And sure enough, it was the same Stephen that James is talking about, and we put an offer on the place the next morning. He met us again at 10:30 the next morning to show us a second time. Right. And he lives in West Bay, I believe.
Yeah, he lives in West Bay.
Away.
Yeah.
And so that's a great example of and real entrepreneur Caymanian. And Caymanians are very, very entrepreneurial, like extremely so. So yeah, it's just it's sometimes nobody wants to go and apply for a permit when you don't have to.
Absolutely. But I mean that Stephen was prepared. He worked at it for 3 years. He studied at the same time, and he played serious football for Cayman. All of that at the same time. So this is someone who is a go-getter. And for our business, that's what we need ultimately. We can't have someone who's going to just sit back and expect the phone to ring, because that's not going to happen. That's not how the business works.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hopefully after reopening, James and Paul, we can continue to have these types of conversations, which I think are very necessary, about what specific industries are doing to encourage Caymanians to perhaps explore those industries as possibilities. I think Miss Andrea said that a lot of Caymanians do not want, as Paul said, to work in the hot sun, that they prefer the air conditioning inside. They want the more apparently cushy jobs. Sitting at a desk, but sometimes the cushy jobs are not really the ones that are paying you a decent salary, because they're going to cap those jobs at whatever for your basic admin position. Whereas if you're a master tile person, or you know how to really do sheetrock and knockdown and all this stuff in terms of building a house, you can certainly really make a decent salary. And I've seen
And
some.
it's not only for guys. Our head painter is a female, and she's an all-female team. Does
Wow.
amazing work. She does
Yes.
amazing work. She's our first go-to to paint. She's just repainted our offices. We refurbished the whole offices, and we waited to refurbish the office till she was finished doing Arvia.
Oh, wow.
Her work in Arvia. So it's not only.
And she's a Caymanian
It's
teacher?
not only for guys. Beg your pardon?
Is she Caymanian by any chance?
Yes.
There you guys go.
I don't know if all her ladies are Caymanian, but she has an all-female team.
She has an all-female staff of painters. Wow, that's an amazing story. Would love to chat with her some more. I mean, these are listen, I myself have sat on here and talked to you about the stories that go wrong, where even government doesn't hire Caymanians when they should be. But I think that there are a lot of stories out there that we never hear about of people who are doing the right things. And maybe we do need to balance the discussion a little bit. We need to explore some of those cases and stuff as well. We never want to hear about the bad stories. So we do have to kind of discuss them, as and when needed, especially as it relates to, I think just every industry, because I think that there are bad employers out there who give everyone a bad name. So I just reached out on WhatsApp to the landscaping company that I use, which is owned by Caymanian. And I said, how many of your landscapers, because that last question came in about landscaping. So landscapers making $6 an hour. So I said, hey, how many of your landscapers make $6 an hour? He said, none of them. There might be other employers who are paying that, but he's not paying that.
Yeah.
And again, as a Caymanian who has a budget for my household, I can pay somebody $75 to come and do my lawn and to, whatever, mow the lawn and whatever. And that's more likely the company that's going to pay somebody $6 an hour, because I'm going cheap on, I can't really afford more than $75. And you're going to send out 4 guys to do my lawn. I'm only going to pay you $75. Like, we all need to understand this is the knock-on effect that I keep talking about. This is why we're going to have that economist from Yale back on, because this knock-on effect is like real life stuff, right? So as a consumer, if I want to go cheap and I'm only going to pay X, how do I expect, and I'm looking for the cheapest person in town to do the job, how can I expect to always go cheap and then expect you to pay your workers $10, $12, $15, $25 an hour? Do the math. I'm no mathematician, but it just doesn't make any sense. So if I want a lawn company, maybe they're going to have to charge me double that because they're paying their guys more, but they're also getting guys who probably a little bit more skilled at how to take care of my plants, how to not run over the lights in my yard every time they come, which has been happening before. It's like all of these little things that no one really wants to talk about. Like you have a certain car, like you don't just take it to any and everybody who claims that they're a mechanic. Someone talked about on-the-job training. James, I'm glad to hear that you've had some sort of an apprenticeship program. Perhaps again in the future we can have you on to speak specifically about that in real estate, because real estate is one of those industries where everyone says there are no Caymanians in real estate. So even when you talk about reopening, the question then becomes, who are we really reopening for? Who's it going to benefit? Let's talk some dollars here, though.
Sandra, just one thing, right?
Yes.
Just on that, the association actually did the study, and I believe it's 92% are Caymanians.
In real estate.
In our association.
And your association being the
Cerriba. Yeah.
So why is it that we don't know that? Why is it that the community does not know that 90% plus of real estate agents are Caymanians?
I think the noise coming the other way is so much greater.
Yeah.
Well, Cerriba doesn't make any noise. That's a real problem.
It's funny.
I'm just saying.
But I think you're right. And I think a lot of this, when they talk about minimum wage, really comes down to skill level. And so, if you're a young Caymanian, you're just coming out of school, right? We all have to start at the bottom. Crikey, my first job, oh my God, I had to shovel with 4 other guys 25 tons of manure and stack it to grow mushrooms at 6 a.m. on a day when it's -2. And that's what you did. You roughed it out initially, and eventually you gain some skills, you have some opportunity, and then you start moving up the ladder. But so I think it's some of it is relative, right? And I think also some of it's just not knowing the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
But we've gotten off the subject, and
Yes, we have.
Let's talk about some.
Sandy, could you put up the
Yeah, I want to look at this TCI
page
article
again? Oh no, the web page, so people can
Oh.
go to take the pledge.
Yes.
Yeah, we really do need to encourage people
Really
to get on and
important
take the
that we
pledge.
show that we're all in a cohesive group and we're all together and we all we're ready to open. That's what we're trying to say.
Yes. And I just want to remind people just quickly about this TCI article, because this is really important. TCI has been a lot more open than we have been. And as a result, they've actually enjoyed some of the best tourism figures, even exceeding their pre-pandemic statistics of 2019 by 18% in June and 19% in July. They're talking about, as it relates to their, what's the other one called? In terms of purchases, real estate, that they have had some record numbers as well. And of course, they actually mentioned the Cayman Islands directly in that, to say that because we've remained closed and because tourists are not, or potential buyers have found it difficult to access Cayman, they've gone to the next best thing, which is TCI. And so TCI has been taking some of that Cayman dollar. So people can take a pledge. Tell us a little bit then, Paul and James, about the Reopen Cayman Pledge and how it works.
So you simply go on the Ready to Reopen page that you have there.
Yes.
You click on it. It asks you, are you ready to take the pledge? And you sign up. You have to, sign your name. You don't have to sign your name. You have to use your email address. There's only one being able to be used per email, because we want it to be an actual true figure. And then it asks you, do you wish for your name to be there or not? And you can choose to be anonymous. Your email obviously is going nowhere. It's not being sold. It's not been given out, anything like that. And it's a simple, yes, I am ready to open.
Right. And these are all the people who have agreed to let their name be seen on the Reopen pledges. So there could be more people that have pledged, but they've said, don't show my name.
Yes.
And these are people who are willing to put their names up. And you can do first initial. I see some have done like just first name and initial, last initial, or you can do your full name.
Yeah. So we urge everybody to go on there, to take the pledge. We support the government. We want to show the government that we're in support of them and in support of their opening plans.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Folks, again, we've had Paul from Davenport, James Bovell. James, you've got your own real estate company, right? It's called Bovell.
No, that's just my team under Remax.
Okay. You're still under Remax.
We have,
Okay. All right. So James from Remax and Paul from Davenport Development, folks. We're going to have some other business owners on next week. Again, just trying to encourage people to take the pledge. They're part of this Reopen Cayman campaign, and they're telling you, why, from their perspective, we need to get that much closer to reopening. Any final words?
No, we just wish everybody a great week.
Yep, absolutely. Stay healthy.
Reopen.
Wear a mask. Get prepared, and let's hope for a brighter future.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All
right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, James. Thanks, Paul. We appreciate it. I know we went a little bit into overtime there and a little bit off topic. But folks, we'll continue to have these discussions. So Hunter says you get what you pay for. Listen, the reality is a lot of us are just not willing to pay top dollar. But on the flip side, we still are demanding that those workers make top dollar. Some of y'all are the cheapest people in the world. And you're still messaging me about, nobody can survive on $6 an hour. I know, but I also know that you happen to be one of those people that ain't spending no money. Okay, folks, let us have a look. I'm still wearing my face this morning. Still cute as ever. Hello. Imagine if I actually had done my hair with this look. Oh my God. You guys would have been like, where's this model going today? Okay, so let us have a look at Frederick. I'm going to actually follow up on that and get some numbers. Again, this is why it's important that you participate in things like the census. Now, the question is, Frederick says 90% Caymanian. Give me a break. How much are born and raised Caymanians being in Cayman longer than 15 years? Does ESO have that information by industry? We don't know. We will certainly ask the questions, right? Now, we all know that when someone gets that piece of paper and they become a status holder, and this is where you need to be talking to your elected officials, that person is just as Caymanian as you. So saying that someone is a born and bred Caymanian versus someone who acquired it in some other way, when it comes to job opportunities and them being on equal footing as you, there is no difference. In law, there can be no difference. Legally, the government cannot discriminate against people who have status and acquired it that way. Now, the funny thing is, when it's convenient for us, we understand the argument. So if I'm married to an expat and he eventually gets status in the Cayman Islands, I wouldn't want him being treated any differently for the purposes of getting a job, because he needs to support his Caymanian family would be the argument, right? So I'm going to say, no, he's not born and bred, but why should he be disenfranchised and not giving an opportunity to get a job on equal footing with someone who was born and bred here? These are the realities of what y'all need to accept. Now, if you only want born and bred Caymanians to be able to get jobs, then you need to talk to your government officials about that. But once someone has status, you can't separate, well, I'm more of a Caymanian than them because I have status or was born and bred here and they only have status. Because in law, you're the same. And the law will trump everything else when they decide to sue the government for discriminatory policies, et cetera, et cetera. Just bringing y'all up to speed a little bit here with the realities that we are all dealing with. Now, of course, if you and I are sitting down having a conversation, it might be in my head that you might have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, and there's still a lot that you don't appreciate and know about the Cayman Islands because you didn't actually, embrace it as much as you could have. Even if you were not born and bred here, there's a lot of ways that you can embrace a culture and become very entrenched and become part of it. Those are all very different conversations that we need to be having. So what else happened over the weekend? This is Rewind Monday, of course, where we recap what happened. So let's talk about this little Cayman situation because this is very, very interesting. So we got a fella. Yes, we all know who he is. Of course, we're not going to mention his name. He's entitled to his little privacy, but hello. This is the Cayman Islands, and on top of it, Little Cayman is like yay big in terms of their population. How many people in Little Cayman? A couple hundred? They need to test all of them to see who else is positive at COVID in that community right now. So this guy travels from, let me pull up the story because I don't want to get the story wrong now. But he traveled from Little Cayman on Friday morning. So he works for Public Works. His job required him to travel. He hasn't traveled in about 3 weeks. So this means that somewhere in Little Cayman, he picked up COVID because he could not have gotten it in 24 hours and tested positive. That's not how this virus works, right? So Friday morning, in case you missed the story, folks, go back and have a read of the story. He travels from Little Cayman to Cayman Brac. He's a Public Works employee, works for government. They're on business. And he goes to the Brac. He makes contact with people at Public Works. He makes contact with people at the fire departments there at the airport, right? I think he even did a presentation or something to these guys, right? So then he goes on from Cayman Brac on Friday morning to Grand Cayman, right? So at some point he comes into Grand Cayman. So now he's touched Public Works crew members, spoke to staff in Cayman Brac, fire station, et cetera, et cetera. Comes to Grand Cayman, does whatever he needs to do here. I'm sure he was in contact with Public Works people here, people, maybe even the general public, people at the airport. He's walked through the airport, in and out of the airport, blah, blah, blah. All right. So now on Saturday morning, he's at the airport. So literally 24 hours. He went to 3 islands. Little Cayman, he came from Cayman Brac, Grand Cayman. Now he's in Grand Cayman. Saturday morning, trying to get back to Little Cayman. Okay, so he's about to get on the little, what do you call the little plane there? The prop plane. So he's about to get on that plane and jettison back to Little Cayman, where he's going to be happy. And in a sub-COVID bubble is what they think. They're like, oh, Cayman is raging with this. He's probably like, oh, I don't want to stay here any minute longer than I need to. I don't know where he overnighted when he was in Grand on Friday night, but he overnighted somewhere or another. I don't know. Did he go to a bar that evening? Did he go hang out with friends in Grand Cayman? I mean, you know, the contact tracing needs to be done in terms of how much time he spent with people. So here he is now at the airport, checking in at the counter, trying to get back. The only time he had to do a COVID test, because remember now, there's no COVID test required to go from Cayman Brac to Little Cayman. So he could travel back and forth to those two islands all day long, and there is no COVID test that's required. However, there is a COVID test, folks, required for him to go now from Grand Cayman back to the sister islands. And this is where all the ish hits the fan. Stay tuned.
Ho, ho, ho! It's that time of year again. Christmas is right around the corner, and you do not want to delay. Because of COVID-19, there are numerous logistics delays expected. Give yourself the gift of a true Christmas miracle by planning ahead with Miracle Brokers. Whether you're moving halfway around the world or ordering a new car for your loved one, contact Miracle today at 949-5989.
All right, folks. I hate to tell you, but today is October the 25th. That means exactly 2 months before Christmas. And with the next story that we're going to be putting up about all these supply chain issues, you better hurry up and make your orders today, or else you're going to have a very interesting Christmas. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get turkeys for Christmas. But anyway, get on it early. Miracle Brokers is the one company that can definitely help you in terms of shipping and logistics. Their sister company, Aeropost, can help you with a lot of your smaller packages, and they do package consolidations. So he's at the airport, anxious to get back into his glorious bubble called Little Cayman. But now he's got to take that PCR test, which he had taken. And I'm sure he's thinking, oh, there's no way I could be COVID positive. That's impossible. They call him. Bring, bring. And I'm sure the conversation was something like this. Hello. Mr. So-and-so. This is Samantha Ebanks. We'll just pick Ebanks. This is Samantha Ebanks from Public Health. We need you to step. Where are you right now, sir? Oh, I'm at the airport, Cayman Airways counter, checking in. Oh, sir, please back up from the counter right now. Now, we know you're wearing a mask because that's a requirement in the airport. Back up from the counter right now. Go back outside immediately. You have tested COVID positive. I'm telling you guys, this is more or less how it went, right? You have tested COVID positive. We need you to exit the airport immediately and stand outside. We're sending someone to pick you up. Say what? What are you talking about? Me? I COVID positive? You must be crazy. I can't be COVID positive. I live in Little Cayman. What do you mean? I'm not around nobody. I live in the bush. Mr. So-and-so, please. We have a positive result with your name on it. We can retest you, but we're sure that you're COVID positive. So for the safety of all around you, please exit the airport immediately. So he goes outside. He exits the airport. And he waits, and they send a little trolley, a little car, whatever for him, taxi, whatever. And they take him immediately to Comfort Suites. It's not a big deal in a way because everybody's going to be getting this COVID situation. Now, of course, he's unvaccinated because he's an anti-vaxxer, I understand. Poor little thing. I hope he doesn't really get too sick. So he's immediately taken to Comfort Suites to isolate. Now, have we been doing any PCR testing like we should on Little Cayman and Cayman Brac? No, because we think, oh, they're still in the bubble. You know, it's here that has the community transmission. Turns out that the only way that this man could possibly be COVID positive is if somebody else on the Brac has it. Where else would he have got, not the BRAC, Little Cayman, where else would he have gotten it from? He's not traveled to Grand Cayman in at least 3 weeks, I'm told. Now, I don't know if he was traveling between Little Cayman and Cayman BRAC, but either way, that means that there's community transmission in Cayman BRAC, and there's community transmission Little Cayman as well. They need to test everybody in Little Cayman over the next week, and they need to probably just start testing everybody in Cayman BRAC as well. So I'm just saying, it is what it is. Sue says, I wish I'd known about Airpost. What? Did you watch the interview that we did on Saturday about their services? You got to check that out, Sue, because yeah, they will consolidate your packages for you, and they do a really good job. We're going to be talking more with them so that you can learn a bit more about how they use technology to really help get your packages here quicker and with less hassle on your part. As a matter of fact, I need to go pre-alert a few packages for myself today as well in the Airpost system. Oh yes, folks, that's what happened over the weekend, and that was a bit of a hot mess. And so all I can tell you is, you know, he's in quarantine. I think they should test people, everybody in Little Cayman. It should be fairly easy. I don't know what numbers, what vaccination numbers we have by island. I don't know if we have that breakdown. We're definitely going to be asking the powers that be that today. So if we can find out what percentage of Little Cayman is vaccinated, what percentage of Cayman BRAC is vaccinated. Let me see, do you have vaccination percentages by each individual island, question mark. So allow me to first say good morning. What are your manners, girl? Good morning. And then I ask the question. All right, let's see if we can get those digits, and I'll let you guys know. But again, anti-vaxxers are everywhere, including Little Cayman, apparently. And now the irony of it is he's positive. Yes, vaccinated people can catch it. They can transmit it. They can get sick, and in unusual occasions, they can even die from it. But Damien, the chances of you getting it are less. The chances of you, this is scientific data I'm talking about now, the chances of you transmitting it are far less. The chance of you being hospitalized are far, 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 far less. And the chance of you dying with it and being vaccinated, it's like way less than 7%. But let's round it up to 7%. So when we're talking about taking chances in life here, do I want protection at 93%? For kids now, they're saying that the Pfizer vaccine has been proven to be 96% effective. Of course, the dosages and stuff for them is going to be very, very different. But I've got a 5-year-old. Do I want to give her 96% protection or 0 protection? What makes sense? Every single time I hear someone says, oh, but a vaccinated person can die, I'm like, let's just take that and put it in the correct context that it should be used in. Yes, you can wear a seatbelt and still die, for heaven's sake. You can have a helmet and still fall off your bicycle and die. But the chances of you having, you know, there's a benefit that comes with the seatbelt. There's a benefit that comes with the helmet. There's a benefit that comes with the vaccination that you should not ignore. It's a significant benefit. But, you know, I'm kind of like, there's some people, and they fall into they're really anti-vaxxers. It's not going to make a difference what you tell those individuals. They're going to just take a chance. And you know what? The only thing I can pray for you is that when you catch COVID, that hopefully you will not be one of those people that gets seriously sick from the disease, and that your family does not have to live with seeing you on a ventilator, and your family does not have to live with seeing you die. I mean, that's the only hope, I guess, that there is for you, because you're hell bent on just ignoring all of the good medical advice otherwise. And that's unfortunate. because there are other people that you should be thinking about other than yourself. You should care about other people. And when you make comments like that, I just shake my head. Everywhere in the world, the people are telling you, listen to us. We are dealing with COVID. We know what we're talking about. We haven't had any COVID cases here really to speak of until recently. Someone else asked the question earlier, but what about the deaths? Nobody's dying. Not yet. You want it to get to that point where when people start dying, then you're like, oh my God, we should have done this. It's like, let's listen to some of the experts. Why don't we?
When I see people on social media saying that COVID is not real, it makes me so very angry. As a nurse, I'm like, how dare you just shadow me one day, just one day, just an hour. Walk around this unit and see what you see, and you will know that COVID is real.
I think sometimes it's easy for people that are sitting on the comfort of their own couch, posting on social media about why the vaccine isn't good for you. That's what I find truly frustrating, because we are in here and we're seeing it every day. We're watching people die.
I understand that people have certain reservations about the vaccines, but you see hospitals full of COVID patients. You don't see hospitals full of patients that are sick because of the vaccine.
We've been keeping track of our deaths that have been happening in our ICUs, and 100% of these deaths are in the unvaccinated individuals.
My father died in April. He was scheduled to get his vaccine the day he was admitted into the hospital, but they didn't have enough back in March. There are vaccines at every store, at every corner, and I'm taking care of people every day who make that choice to not be vaccinated. Don't let your families go through that pain. That pain is something that rips our hearts out every time we have to put your family member in a body bag, and then having to do it to our own family who would have done anything to be vaccinated but couldn't be.
I have been an ICU nurse for 16 years, and I have zipped up more body bags from March of last year to this point than I have in my career. When you are zipping up body bags for two 30-year-olds within 48 hours of one another, you don't get over that.
Scientists all over the world are coming to recognize that this is a war that is going to be with us for a while, especially I think living in Florida with our current vaccination rates. This is a war that we're going to have to continue to fight, and our best defense against the virus is still vaccination.
All right, folks. So again, these are people in the front lines. These are people who are dealing with COVID. So if anybody knows the realities of life with COVID, it would be them. It's not us who've lived in a bubble and who believe all sorts of nonsense that we are seeing online about how serious this virus is. This is a real pandemic. So listen, folks, final thing of today is I wanted to extend our condolences to the family of Mr. Jerry Harper, Gerald, aka Jerry Harper, Coach Harper, as most of you would have known him by, passed away yesterday morning at the Pines retirement home. He was 83 years old. I couldn't believe that he was that old. I was like, wow, when did he become 83 years old? Obviously. So yes, folks, 83 years old, he passed away. He coached, I think many of you, if you were in, athletics, if you're a runner, people in the Bahamas, he lived there for some 10 years and he maintained a lot of contacts there in the Bahamas. So our condolences go out to the family of Coach Harper. No loss is ever easy for sure. But he has made a real positive impression on the lives of a lot of people here. So I think a lot of people will miss him. I saw a lot of the comments on social media yesterday where people are saying, thank you so much for coaching me. I was looking at his Facebook page. I was actually friends with him. I am friends with him on Facebook. And I was having a look at his Facebook page, and I saw where someone said, this is about a year or two ago, that they met up with him, or they saw him again after 40 years. They're like, oh my gosh, Coach Harper, I couldn't believe it. After 40 years, we got to see each other again. And they were just so happy and so tickled pink because he made that kind of a lasting impression on so many people that even after 40 years, they were happy to have the opportunity to visit him and see him here in the Cayman Islands. So our condolences to his family. Just a really sad situation, really. But again, you always saw him like at every race event in Cayman. He was there. He was often in coaching events, Carifta games, whatever. He was always there, and he was always one of those just little silent people with the little clock, keeping track of the time and those sorts of things. So, yes, our condolences go out to his family and all of his friends as well. All right, so Friday was the press briefing, folks. The major thing that came out of it is November the 20th. We're moving to phase 4. Get ready to reopen. We had 2 guests on this morning from the Reopen Cayman Campaign. We will have others going into the next couple of weeks coming on the program. And take the pledge. Are you ready? Readiness comes in all sorts of different forms, folks. So are you ready as an individual? Are you ready as a family? Are you ready as a business owner? These are business owners who are saying that they are ready. And of course, the preparedness and the readiness, does cover a variety of different areas. So one of the other things that came out of the press conference is there will be $1 million ex gratia payment stipend that will be given to people who are placed into mandatory isolation or quarantine by public health. So this is a situation where you traveled and then you have to do the quarantine. This is a situation because of schools shutting down, because you've tested positive, so on, that you are at home and you're not getting a salary and you can't work from home. So there have been certain criteria they put in place for this ex gratia payment. Please, there's an article on the CMR website. Go and have a look at the article. It will give you the application, the link for the application form, an email address to ask any questions that you may have, and also what the criteria are. So you have to be a Caymanian or PR or RERC, which means that you're married to a Caymanian. Hopefully they're going to check some of those out, because some of y'all claim you're married to a Caymanian, but we know that's on paper only. Speaking of that, somebody was messaging me the other day about all these fake marriages of convenience. They sent me a few photos on Friday. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, marriages of convenient, but who's to blame? The Caymanians. It's so funny that we want to sit here, and I agree with you 1,000%. That we have situations where there's inequality in the workplace and all these things happening. And yes, other people are coming here and da-da-da-da. But one of the biggest ways in which we as Caymanians can control the influx of people willing to take advantage of the system is not marrying people who are trying to do it for their own personal financial gain. And what are a lot of fools doing? Marrying people just for that same reason. It ain't love. It's a marriage of convenience. We've talked about it before in this program, and I suspect it won't be the last time that we're talking about it. But you all, not me, you all, as Caymanians, are out there selling your own birthright, sometimes for a couple $100 a week or a couple $100 a month, from people who have nothing really of value to offer. Because most people who have to go through the route of marrying for convenience, I mean that they can't get it any other way. Mm-hmm. They have no skill set that we really want here, right? They are willing to take advantage of the system. They just want to live a certain life at the expense of other people. And so, yes, they will use you if you allow yourselves to be used. And of course, they don't care about, they'll have a couple children with you. That's not a problem. Now, are they going to be great parents? Or are they going to take care of the children? Oh, those are the real questions. But, we have a very, very much a double standard at times, because we're willing to have that other conversation, and yes, that conversation needs to take place about who we building for, the importation of foreign labor, et cetera, et cetera. But we had this other issue of the importation of marriages of convenience, and those people who mean us absolutely no good. Most people who come in a work permit, they're happy to leave, even if it's just rolled over for time and maybe be recycled or whatever. When you start marrying these fools, you're creating a whole other situation that is letting loose. It's kind of like the raccoon. You're letting loose people in the community who shouldn't be here. And they're not of the best quality in the world. And so they're going to upset the entire ecosystem, as they already have, of what we have here in this country. Some of them looking to use little old men and take away their pension money, meaning that their children and grandchildren will be left with nothing. Those are Caymanian children and Caymanian grandchildren. And they're marrying somebody who's like 50 years older than them. Nobody wants to have those conversations. Taking away their little Siemens pension and all kind of stuff. These are real things that are happening. So I appreciate the person who sent the marriage of convenience photos. They were very, very interesting. But again, those are Caymanians that are contributing to that. I saw a couple of them, child, with the bride and groom at the wedding chapel. And then this person says, they're blaming they're saying that the laws need to be reinforced. The law has to have someone naturalized as a joke. The procedure in place to ensure proper checks made with these marriages is a joke. Trust me, this is not, trust me, it's not us that fail. It's the lawmakers and the politicians who don't give the proper tools to investigate. So this is someone giving feedback. But listen, it's not just that. What ends up happening is, to prove a marriage of convenience, you have to have one person who is willing. So this person says, these people are making a mockery of our immigration system. Immigration marriages are on the rise in Cayman. Perhaps so. And, you can't blame the marriage officers. I don't know that that's their job. But how are you going to prove that this is a marriage of convenience? I mean, we look at it and we all kind of go, they should not approve this RERC application. This person shouldn't get any benefit of being married to this person. But at some point, you're opening yourself up to being challenged legally. How do you prove that this is a marriage of convenience? And that's the difficulty of it, because the only people who can really tell you in most instances if it's a marriage of convenience are the people who are involved in that marriage of convenience. So Al says every marriage, in his opinion, is a marriage of convenience. Al, point taken up to a certain point. But somewhere in the line of most marriages should be love and affection and like, I really do like this person sort of thing. It's not, I'm going to be living a separate life and we're just going to get married on a piece of paper. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about marriage of convenience. And then the person's out there doing whatever they want. Yeah. Anywho, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the program this morning. Big shout out to everyone. Thank you all as well for the compliments on the face. I think I'm gonna keep it. Every morning I'm gonna just get up looking this beautiful. I'm here for it. And some mornings I'm gonna change it up because I have lots of options actually. So I will be picking the best available options, and we'll play those and see what y'all think. Yep. Vanessa, final comment of the day. Vanessa says, sorry, but I question any Jamaican man who marries a Caymanian woman. I'm a Caymanian Jamaican, and I know that Jamaican men don't like to get married. To anybody or just to Caymanians? Period. Oh, strange that when they reach the Cayman, all of a sudden they believe in marriage. So all of these marriages are marriages of convenience. Vanessa, you can't make a generalization like that. Lots of Jamaicans get married in Jamaica and all over the world. So maybe there's a certain segment of the population who likes to get married and still have a couple side pieces. That might be a real thing. But I do not believe that most Jamaican men don't want to get married. I don't know about that. Honey child. Lewis says, I ain't easy. Well, life not easy. The truth ain't easy. The situation definitely not easy. And I'm here to tell y'all the cold, hard truth. Yeah, I don't believe that at all. I'm married to a Jamaican. And funny enough, he is the type of person who wanted to be married to do certain things. So he not having no child without being married, for example. He's a person who believes in marriage and family and commitment. He wants to do it with the right person, obviously. But yeah, I don't know about that. Yes, Dion. Yes, Al. Al, you couldn't tell? I mean, I must tell you, it looks pretty good. There's some that are very, very realistic. I think this is why I chose this one today, because it's one of the better ones. Give myself some little eyelashes. Just a little bit of a look. Looks good, right? Must tell you, modern technology is amazing. All right, good people. Luis, Al, Vanessa, Dion, Miss Sue, Miss Darlene times 2. Because we got Darlene Manzanares in the UK, and we got the other Darlene, Mackenzie. Thank you all so much. Vanessa says it's food for thought. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate it. Andy, everybody's having a good laugh. Miss Christine was locked in this morning. Jonathan, Frederick Wills, thank you for tuning in. Andrea, Irvelin, all our usual suspects. Aliano, Miss Mona, Damien. Appreciate it. So I got a couple things that I need to be chasing up. Number one, I'm going to get the numbers, the breakdown for the sister islands of vaccination numbers and COVID testing, but I'm pretty sure they haven't been doing any COVID testing. So that information we need to have. And I also need to find out what's going on with this $2.1 million scanner over at CBC, over at Customs. My understanding is we got a secondhand scanner from the UK. That has not worked for years, because this is one of those, it's a friend of some so-and-so's company, so let's just buy it with good intentions. And it has never really worked. And it's been sitting there for years. $2 million wasted. Say what? No accountability. At some point, we got to start firing people for these types of poor decisions. Somebody just told me there was an event shut down in Cayman Brac over the weekend. Yes, honey child. Some dry land tourists pool and beach party. You know what else is interesting? Cayman has more DJs than anything else in the world. Y'all notice this, or is it just me? How we get so many damn DJs? Because you know why? You can call yourself a DJ, have no DJ experience. You just show up and do a little spinning on the table or whatever, and it's like all of a sudden you're a DJ. So this event, I'm heard, got shut down, and they told them, nope, can't do it. Dry land tourists. Well, y'all better try and open up and get some wetland tourists. 10 p.m. until the tide comes in. So this is going to be an all-night event. I don't know who shut it down, if it was Public Works, if it was the police, whoever. It says it looks like the Cayman Airways COVID case had a close contact who also tested positive at that event. Oops. Snaps. Well, it is what it is, folks. Probably not the best time to be having these types of events in any event. Everybody's a DJ, though. I got to tell you the truth. Everybody's a DJ. A couple of days ago, I came across this young lady. Oh, my God. I got to show you guys this. This is so cute. She got some straight up DJing skills, and she looks like she's all about 9 or 10 years old. Hold on a second. I want y'all to listen to just a snippet of this young lady play her spin the table there. Some real skills here, but yeah, everybody in Cayman just jumps up last minute. Oh, I'm a DJ. Oh, of course you are. Of course you're a DJ. Yes. Y'all are all DJs. Look at this little kid. She is DJ Battle. This is a DJ Battle semifinals. Apparently, there's such a thing that they have, a competition. And this is DJ Michelle Goldie Awards. And they did this online back in April. And she made it to the semifinals. Look at this young lady's skill set. Now, I don't know who else she's going up against. I don't know if they divided it by age or how they did it. But check out this little kid. Let me see. Does it tell you how old she is? I'm guessing she's probably about 9 or 10. DJ Michelle. But amazing. Look at this, y'all. Check this out.
I was 5 and he was 6. We rode on horses made of sticks. He wore black and I wore white. He would always win the fight. Bang, bang, he shot me down. Bang, bang, I hit the ground. Bang, 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 that awful sound. Bang, bang, my baby shot me down, 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 down,
Oh yeah, this little kid's amazing. Look at how she transitions into like the next song with a different beat. I mean, this kid is talented. Amazing, right? All right, folks. She's only 8 years old, actually. I'm feeling it. Talent. I love it. 8 years old, and she's doing a better job than some of the DJs in Cayman. But everybody in Cayman is a DJ, and everybody wants to be out there charging these DJ rates. But anyway, congratulations to little DJ Michelle, 8 years old, doing her thing. I'm impressed. Folks, see y'all tomorrow morning, God's willing. I'll have on my beat face again. Looking good, looking good. Y'all have a wonderful day. Anything else happening? I'll tell you about it later on.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.